I still just don't really get what the benefit of all of this is. And people will be worrying and wondering, are you two imposing your view of life on this 4-year-old?
It used to be a time that fairy tales were true. The king and the queen and all the pills were blue. But then the pill changed, the red pill's the truth. Forget the married life, I got better things to do. Stack money, travel the world. When you're getting it like that, you can pick out a girl. When you chase your own dreams, you can become a swirl. As many as you want, straight hair or curl. Single ready to mingle, the sky's the limit. Now I date women, gotta learn a language to get them. But they still Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before we get started, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button with the notifications button, and leave a comment. Let me know exactly what you think about this video. Next, I would not be talking about all women, even though it feels like it. And if you haven't subscribed to my second channel, who is Anthony Spade, link should be in the description, or just go to my homepage where you can also subscribe to my second channel, but you'll also get the songs to the intro on the Red Pill mixtape. All right, today we're going to be talking about gender fluid, which is something that's neutral between a man and a woman. All right, it's out of the LGBT community. We're going to learn about it today. I'm going to commutate about it. Let's get to it.
Louise here, Louise on the left. Louise was born a man, but is now having hormone treatment to transition to become a woman. Nikki was born a woman and dresses as both a man and a woman, depending how you're feeling, is that right, Nikki, on the day? And both of them wanted to raise their son as gender neutral, so that he thinks of himself as a person rather than a boy. Did I get that right? Have I?
All right. First thing that I want to say is that we're trying to alternate how we feel inside and get someone to reflect that. Like she says, some days she wakes up and wants to be a woman. Some days she dresses up and wants to be a man. But she's going to confuse everybody around her because people are going to treat her as different identities. That's where we're living at now. People are not understanding the aura that they're putting off physically. People are not aware of what people think about them. They're just hoping that someone can treat them how they feel inside. So instead of them trying to relate to the viewer, they're trying to force their emotion onto the viewer, but the viewer sees differently than how they feel inside. That's the problem that we're having in today's society.
I explained that fairly well.
Yeah. Basically, he knows biologically he is a boy.
Yeah.
But we don't want him to have the constraints of a gender yet. We want him to explore both sides of the spectrum.
That's where the confusion part's at. Because in society, boys are going to naturally think a certain way, and women are going to naturally think a certain way. When you try to offset your natural emotion or your natural ability, it's typically when you get confused. And the reason why you get confused is because you do not relate to the emotion you're trying to feel. And the emotion that you're trying to feel has been forced onto you.
And then decide when he's older.
But Nikki, however ideal that may be, are you not creating problems for him? The very fact that you're calling him him.
Yeah.
Does that not gender specify him? Because
Basically.
besides if you weren't calling him him, you'd have to call him it, wouldn't you? And you don't want to be doing that.
I think it's a case of...
He's right. You're already calling him, but you're telling him that it has to choose to be it in order to make you feel better. That's what they're doing. Both of them are trying to raise a child that's going to accommodate both of them as they get older. And that's where a lot of these problems are. Once again, the elites don't care about the kids. That's where the manipulation starts, is at the kids. If you go back and look at life 10 years ago, when all of this started in preschools and all that, look at the modern day generation kid. Confused. They feel like, all right, I got problems with women. That must mean I like other men. Or I got problems with men, so as a woman, that must mean I like another woman. Why you think a lot of these lesbos and LGBT community are baby moms?
allowing him to express himself. We see it's very common these days for men to walk around in salmon shirts, or some like to call it's pink. That by wearing that salmon shirt, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm feeling very feminine today. No, it's just a case of you've picked out a shirt that matches your outfit.
Yes.
I understand that. I think, you know, most of our views.
See, I think that when people think like this, they're old school thinking. Men don't necessarily identify pink with feminine anymore. Ever since Cameron the rapper made it popular, and then Kanye made it popular, the color pink has actually became a popular color with men and women, just in different realms. But people don't identify the color pink as feminine anymore. But when it comes to confused people, they spend so much time on the internet. They spend so much time in small groups that their brain isn't opening wide enough to see how big the world is. That's what's the problem with most people in these positions. They haven't traveled enough. They haven't been around the world enough. They come from small towns. They be around small groups of people their whole life, and they're missing out on what's actually happening in the real world.
Will understand that kind of gender fluid with toys,
Yeah.
colours of clothing, you know, so you just say, look, here are lots of toys. We've got cookers and ironing boards, we've got
Yeah.
trucks and workbenches, and you choose.
Yeah.
And even clothes. But
Yeah.
actually, you're just saying if he doesn't feel, you don't want to use the word you're a boy.
No.
But is that not confusing for you? Because I find that quite confusing, because he biologically is born a boy.
He knows that biologically.
See, things start off at the home. The way that you act in public starts off at the home. The way that you respond to things start off at the home. So she's telling him, you're going to tell this boy he could be whatever he wants. However he wants to feel inside is what he chooses to be. But society is going to automatically treat him a certain way just for looking like a boy, just for acting like a boy and reacting like a boy. But they're trying to tell them, no, don't let them treat you like a boy. Treat them however you want. People only know how to treat people a certain way, male or female. It's the same thing in the animal kingdom. Males and females treat each other a certain way. Males and females were put here for a certain reason. And those reasons were not to try to morph into something that you're not.
He's a boy.
He does know that.
Yes. Like, obviously in the article, there was a question that, are you a girl or are you a boy? And he replied, I'm a boy. He knows that he's a boy. The second part of that question, which I opened up myself, was I didn't actually say, are you a person? I said, are you a girl, a boy, or a person? Right? Because obviously if you ask a child a binary question, are you A or are you B? They're going to give you a binary answer. If you ask them an open question, they'll give you an open answer.
What about school? He's done.
No, it's a confusing question. You're offering on another option that they could be. This is why these communities aim towards kids, because kids cannot make their decision. Kids do not understand what's going on. Typically at a younger age, the personalities are already formed by the time they're 6. So the earlier they get in on the kids, the quicker that they can manipulate the kids to work in their favor. This is why a lot of single mothers' children grow up bad. It's because they manipulate the kids to work in their favor and go against the rest of the world. It's narcissism. You program your kid to love you, do what you want to do, but you made your children unlivable in the rest of society. So when they try to go into the rest of society, they're programmed to mommy and not programmed to the world, which is why a lot of single parents have a hard time with their kids. But when you're dealing with couples like this, you're only creating more confusion. As the child gets older, they typically get to the point where they want to do this, take themselves out, and if they don't take themselves out, then they have to keep themselves concealed in a small group of people in order to feel happy for that moment. But they're only surrounding themselves with people that are sensitive like them.
Starting school this September, I
Yes.
believe. How is that going to work for him? If, you know, with his school friends, the gender fluid. Are you concerned that this could set him up for a little bit of interest from the other children and possibly a bit of bullying or name calling if he can't can't say if he's a boy or a girl?
He can say if he's a boy or a girl. We don't say you can't say that. He can say that whenever he wants. What we say is, do what you want, basically, as long as you're safe. We know that when he goes to reception, that it could form interest. And we've sat down with his school and said, look, he's going to come in a boy's uniform, obviously, because...
See, what they're doing is they're setting it up to complain later. That's what they're doing. These are bored people that have nothing to deal with their life. They have no goals. They have no dreams. They have nothing. They have sat around the house and did nothing but find a reason to complain about life. Find a reason to try to be accepted because they don't want to adapt to the norm. That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with these communities. What she wants is she wants her son to come in the house and accept her and her husband as the weirdos, but adapt when they go back out in public with an ideology that people do not recognize. So these kind of like the child's going to go in public and say, hey, I'm gender fluid and I'm not a man, I'm not a female, and my mother and dad have taught me how to do this. And everyone's going to be like, well, your dad's a mom and then your mom's a woman and now you're coming here. You're setting the child up to get picked on. And then when the child gets picked on, you want to victimize yourself to the school. Then you're going to want to victimize yourself to the TV for attention, to give you the attention that you never had by using your child as bait to confuse everyone. So you have to answer for the child. If you understand what I'm saying, she's setting it up so she get attention of accusing the world of not accepting her.
He needs particular support in particular areas, but we've compromised with him. Obviously, he's having, rather than like traditionally boy socks, he's having pink socks. He's having pink.
But that will make him stand out, won't it, straight away? So you say, well, he's got the boy's uniform on, but he's got pink socks that maybe the girls.
Exactly. They're right. This is exactly what happens. This is exactly what happens. You want to send him to school as a boy, but you want to give off a feminine trait. They're trying to get the boy to be both roles. You're a boy, but let's give off a feminine trait to everyone else so you appear gay. That's what they're trying to say. Yeah, he could go to school as a boy, but we're going to dress him up a little bit so the little girls know that they can hang out with him too. That's where the confusion comes in at. When men stay around feminine energy too long, you become feminine. Look at Caitlyn Jenner. Look at what's happening now with a lot of you guys that's hanging around all these girls all the time. You starting to get feminine energy. Men are starting to walk around with purses. But being that it's designer, now it's a wallet. No, you have on a purse. You have on a purse. Why? Because you're surrounded by so much feminine energy. Look at all these rappers. You know why they buy so much jewelry? It's because they're surrounded by feminine energy. Women love jewelry. Real men don't.
Aware.
But you know, do you really believe, Louise, that makes his life better? He'll be a better person for that? I still just don't really get what the benefit of all of this is. And people will be worrying and wondering, are you two imposing your view of life on this 4-year-old?
With our view...
Exactly. People are imposing. They're trying to vicariously live through their children. They want their children to be everything that they should be based off of their experiences. And this is what parents do. Parents have to be careful when you're raising your child, because if your home is not correct, then they're not going to be able to adapt to the rest of the world.
Views and the world's views. We understand that when a child grows up, they take their parents' views and they also learn the world around them by having our views and the world around them, their views. We're hoping he'll become more of a well-rounded person.
But okay, I'm listening to you, I hear you. Sarah has just got in touch to say, how about just raising your child to be kind and good? Why does the gender matter so much over those other qualities?
Because...
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that question. Why does the gender matter? Because you have certain stereotypes, right? When people think of boys and then they think of men, they think of masculine, good-looking, tough guys. When you think of women, you think of pretty women, long hair. Whenever you got people that fit like they cannot fit the status quo of what a man and a woman is supposed to be, now they want to be identified with what they think they are. That's why they don't like gender roles. That's why they don't like genders. It's because there's always a status quo for what a gender is supposed to look like. And when you cannot match these status quos, now they start to feel less. They say, oh, I don't feel like a man, or I don't look like a man. I don't feel like I look like a man, but I look like a man on side, so I'm going to act like a woman because I feel like a woman on side. That's what's happening.
Like, for instance, toy shops, you go in, everything's very binary. It's either a boy or it's a girl. And there's no cross section, and to help teach him.
What cross section? You either got a dick or you got a pussy. Period. There is no in between. You got a couple cases where people have turned out with both, but it's not normal. It's not a regular thing. At the end of the day, it's the same thing with animals. You either got a male or you have a female. Trying to put something in between is you trying to run away from reality. I understand that people have these internal issues that are happening. What I hate is when you try to force society to live with them or to accept them, and society is just confused as they are.
Like better views, we've allowed him to have a broader spectrum.
So if he turns out to be more kind of boy in his outlook, the things he likes to play with, the way he likes to dress, you'll still be happy with that?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
We're happy as long as he's happy, healthy and safe.
Okay, recap on this. Parents like that are not going to be happy if their child grows up straight, because if their child grows up straight and adjusts to the rest of reality, they're afraid of the child turning around and looking at them as weirdos. So what they're trying to do is get inside the kid's mind enough to say, hey, you're right. You could be neutral. You could be male, female, or just a person. That's it. You have 3 options to what you could be. If someone else tries to treat you otherwise, they are wrong. That's what they're trying to do. They're raising the child to be accepted in the household, but still be more confusion to the masses. This is Anthony Spade. Hopefully you guys are able to get the message behind the video. Comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista.